Stay tuned till the end of the video because I got to show you this. Hey guys, welcome to the Homestead. So today we're going to talk about how MAGA has gone full retard. Now, before I get started, I know I'm going to talk about a topic that gets a lot of people emotional, no matter what side you're on. And I try to find common ground on both sides. I'm not trying to ride the fence on this one, but let's be honest, there are some good things and bad things with what we've seen over the last year, or since Trump has taken office. One of the things I really like about this bill is that it has almost completely defunded, when it comes to government funding, Planned Parenthood. And that's the one reason I told people Trump is getting my vote in this last election. Because during his last time in office, the abortion clinic that was here in Northwest Arkansas closed down under his watch. And they attributed their closing and having to move with Trump policies. Automatic vote from me. And he's done it again. There are a number of Planned Parenthood clinics that have stated because of this bill, they will probably be forced to close. Automatic win from me. Vote, that's an automatic vote win. You're going to get my vote when you do stuff like that. So, there's lots of great things. But however, what I have seen lately by a lot of these people who are absolutely, no matter what, diehard pro-MAGA, I would call these people in the cult. Even though I would call myself, I'm Make America Great Again. Fantastic. Outstanding. Sounds great. However, I'm not in a cult where I'm going to be like seeing something and be like, oh, as long as he's doing it, it has to be okay. That's not the camp I'm in. So, with that being said, I'm seeing all these people talking about the additional $2+ trillion in deficit spending that's going to occur like it's a good thing. They have made the excuse that, we have to spend money to make money. And that's how this country gets out of debt. That has never happened in the history of humanity. You're living in a dream world, Neo. Well, I understand you have to spend money to make money. That makes sense. That's when it comes to investments and business. When you want to grow a business, you have to spend money to make money. When it comes to getting out of debt, have you ever heard, Dave Ramsey, I have my problems with Dave Ramsey. But when it comes to getting out of debt, the man is an absolute genius. Have you ever tuned into Dave Ramsey's show and heard him say, the best way to get out of debt is to go ahead and spend more money? No, that's the exact opposite of what he says. He says you have to cut back. You have to figure out ways to identify things that you don't need to spend money on and then remove those things from your life. That's what he says. And that's what Doge apparently did, and did successfully for the most part. And most of those cuts were not codified into law. They're still being spent. Some of them were codified. Some of them were enacted. But we have another $2 trillion in deficit spending. Do you know what that means? Now, let me rewind the clock a little bit, just so you understand. Way back when, during the Bush presidency, you had Nancy Pelosi come completely unhinged when the yearly deficit spending reached $400 billion. She's like, it was in the news everywhere. I remember it. They went completely nuts about how Bush raised deficit. Under Bush, deficit spending reached 400 billion with a B. They were unglued about that. And I'll probably put some newspaper articles or internet articles, because you can go back to the Wayback Machine and find all these articles where she just went nuts. And the Democrats went nuts about how this was completely reckless and it was just going to lead to doom and gloom and destruction. Here we are today. We're not $400 billion on a deficit spending level. We are at $2 trillion. $2 trillion on a deficit spending level. And we got there by both Republicans and Democrats doing what they do best, and that is spending money they don't have. Now, we're going to double that with this bill, the big, beautiful doublement bill. We're going to double the deficit spending to $4 trillion. Now we've gone from $4 billion, where Nancy had a conniption fit, to $4 trillion. We have gone completely insane when it comes to spending. And I don't know how much farther it can go. I really thought the can would have been kicked down the proverbial end of the road by now. But apparently it keeps on going. But I'm a student of history, and I can watch documentaries and learn about historical economics, with the rise and fall of different empires throughout history. And all the time when they get into debt and they refuse to cut spending, when they refuse to instill austerity measures, they always go the same way. They go bankrupt. And usually that accompanies war, disease, famine, all kinds of horrible things. We don't know what we're doing. We don't read history anymore. You cannot spend your way out of debt. You can spend your way into financial prosperity. You spend money to make money, but that's not what he's doing. You don't spend your way out of debt. When it comes to business, yes, you can do that. Okay, you have to spend money to make money. But you will never hear a sound economic mind tell you that the way you get out of debt is spend more money. That's just, and if you hear someone giving that argument, because I'm hearing it a lot nowadays, especially on all the social media stuff, all the MAGA people, well, we got to spend money. We're investing in our future by spending money to get out of debt. That's insane. That never happens. It never happens. So, what are we looking forward to? Well, as I've said many times in this channel, hyperinflation is the end goal. That will be the end result. And now they're talking about cutting interest rates, which will also lend to hyperinflation. Inflation has not gone away. Did you see my video the other day where I talked about I ordered the Amazon paper towel roll, and now the Amazon paper towel roll, the center of the roll has gotten bigger, which means you're getting less paper towels on your paper towel roll. The inflation is not going away. That's inflation. Shrinkflation is inflation. It's going to continue to go down that road because we don't know how to stop spending in this country, which is all it's going to do is demand people get higher wages, which is going to feed that inflationary fire. It's something that I tell people the reason why you need to be self-sufficient and you need to do what you can do to stop relying on the system. Stop relying on the things that they provide for you. Even a little bit. Try to, build a homestead where you can have some things that if all goes sideways tomorrow, you're not going to be stuck out in the rain as much as maybe some other people will. Now, here's what I'm going to talk about to my patrons here coming up soon. I thought about this long and hard. How do people in rural settings throughout history usually fare when bad things happen, when things go sideways, when empires fall? Because I watch enough documentaries to know and watch and see how these things play out on the rural people, the rural peasantry, as it were, throughout history, throughout time, during the Middle Ages, during the Dark Ages, even recent history. How do things usually play out? This is very, very important. So we're going to talk about that over at our Patreon channel, patreon.com/AnAmericanHomestead. Link is down below. Also down below, you can find the link to our tincture guides, our tincture books, the herbal extracts books. If you buy these on Amazon, you're going to pay hundreds, if not thousands of dollars sometimes. The price fluctuates depending on the market value and how these books come up on the open market because people are constantly reselling them. But you're going to pay hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for these books. And I give them to all my patrons for as little as $1 a month. These books do not tell you how to make tinctures because there's plenty of videos out there. That's basically, anyone can figure that out. It's simple. It tells you what to do with them. Why? It tells you all these plants that are growing behind me here, what they're used for. And it comes with color photos and descriptions on how you use these, why you use these. This is my medicine cabinet, and this is a great tool to have on hand. Because you need to practice and learn to be your own doctor, to be your own medical professional. That needs to be you. The same way you provide your own food, you grow your own food, or you're trying to become less dependent on the system, you need to understand that being your own medical professional in your own home is very, very important. And so these books will help you get there. I give them to all my patrons. Plus, we have all kinds of other videos over at patreon.com chicken coop tours, butchering videos, videos on ham radio communications. All that stuff is over there for your ability to consume and learn about if you're interested in more of those things. So I really encourage you to become a patron. And I'm going to be talking about how the rural people throughout history, around the world, have dealt with times when bad things happen. So I hope you'll pay attention to that and tune in for it. What do you guys think? I think this whole idea that we have to spend money to make money and people just blindly following the MAGA crowd when it comes to defending this deficit increase of $2 trillion, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, by the way, raises the debt ceiling another $5 trillion. So we're at $37 trillion in debt right now. That's going to increase by another 5. They don't care. They don't care. They have no concept of what debt is and what it does to cultures and what it does to economies. They just don't. What do you think? I'm interested to hear your thoughts below. Am I off track on this? Correct me, set me straight. I'd love to hear from you. Also, if you're a patron and you have taken advantage of these books that I have tried to give out for as little, anyone who joins for as little as $1 a month, I highly encourage you to sign up for higher levels. There's other benefits associated with that. But if you're a patron and you've seen the benefits of being a patron, leave a comment below. Let others know you have seen that benefit. See you next time on the Homestead. Bye. My corn has been doing fantastic this year. It's got tons of silk coming out. I'm going to harvest some of this silk for a tincture, actually. You can make tinctures out of the silk. People don't know that. But this is a sweet corn variety that I planted, and it's doing great. I'm looking forward to having some sweet corn. This over here is a dent corn variety that's going to grow up later after this is already done pollinating this batch, so they don't mix. But this is a dent corn variety, and this is great for making corn nuts or corn bread. I prefer the corn nuts. What do you like? Do you want corn nuts? Do you like corn nuts, or do you like corn bread? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever gone to a health food store and seen all those small bottles of probiotics in your cooler section? Man, can they be pricey. Are you really getting all you need to improve your gut health from those expensive bottles? How viable are they? Most of those products claim to give you between 8 and 15 strains of gut-healthy healing bacteria. Think of each strain of bacteria as a different factory in your gut. Each factory is responsible for breaking down that food in its own way. The more factories you have, the more the food is broken down and the easier the food is absorbed and digested by the body. A 2018 study published by the National Library of Medicine shows that one fermented head of cabbage can produce up to 114 strains of beneficial bacteria. That's a lot more food factories than you're getting from that expensive pill bottle. And that's just cabbage. Imagine the probiotics when you add garlic, onions, pepper, and more to that ferment. PerfectPickler.com and its home fermentation kits provide you with everything you need to get started making your own gut-healthy food factories from the comfort of your own kitchen. PerfectPickler.com even provides a jam-packed recipe book with many of our kits. Visit PerfectPickler.com and start fermenting your own veggies to begin your journey to better gut health. That's PerfectPickler.com. Hey guys, did you know you can become a patron of an American Homestead? They get access to private videos, and we send them gifts from the homestead that we make here on the homestead. And we also enter our patrons into special giveaways that are only available to them. And before you go, please check out these other great videos. Go ahead, click. Oh wait.